Hey y'all, happy holidays. My name is Max. I'm an instructor at Youth Code Jam, and for this Spurs Give Holiday Coding Camp video, we are going to be making a Snowman customizer in Scratch. We will be using a starter project, and to get to the starter project, you can go to bit.ly/sgcc1221a. And this will take you, you can type this into the address bar on your web browser, and it'll take you directly to a blank project just like the one that you see right now. If you don't have a Scratch account, I recommend joining Scratch. You can do so by going to scratch.mit.edu/join. Scratch is free to use, free to sign up for, and it's really fun. Just please make sure you have the permission of a trusted adult before signing up for anything on the internet. Okay, so once you are here, make sure that you're logged in. You can see your username in the top right. If you see the green remix button, you can definitely click on that to remix the project. That'll save a copy of this project onto your own account, and it makes saving much easier. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So with this project, you can see there are a lot of existing sprites already. These are not sprites that Scratch has in its sprite library, so that's why we used a custom starter project so that you can have all of these sprites. And we are going to be making something where you can click on the different parts of the snowman and it'll change into different costumes. So for each of these sprites, we're going to have some, just a little bit of code for each sprite, and a lot of the code's going to repeat. So on this first sprite, let's make sure that we have the clothes sprite selected. You can do so by just clicking on it down here in the bottom right in the sprites pane. And let's go ahead and get a when green flag clicked block. This is a hat block, and it starts our code off. So you can put this anywhere you want on your workspace. It doesn't matter where it goes. The next thing that we're going to do, and one of the first things that we're going to do for all these sprites, is make sure that when we click the green flag, there is an initial position, so that everything lines up. Because these are all different sprites, if you accidentally click and drag some of them away, then we can make sure that it all goes back to the same place. So let's get the green flag block, place it on our workspace, and the first block we'll need underneath here is a go-to block. And this go-to block you can find in Motion. It's going to say, well, there's a couple different go-to blocks. We're going to get the one that says go-to X and Y. So this is kind of like an address on your stage here. And we're going to make sure that this one says, for the X value, it says 0. And for the Y value, it says -75. They might already say that. So you would maybe think that you wouldn't have to put this here. But because you'll be clicking around here and you might accidentally move it a little bit, we want to make sure that everything lines up, and so we have initial starting places. Next thing that we're going to do is, you can see when I moved this head here, it kind of went in front of some of the other sprites, and you can no longer see most of the snowman's face. So we're going to control the layers of how our sprites interact on top of each other. So for this clothes sprite, the first thing that we're going to do is get a block that's towards the bottom of looks. You may have to scroll down a little bit. And we're going to get a block that says go to front layer. So we'll go to the front layer first, but then we're going to go back some layers. So we are going to grab the block that's right underneath that here in the looks category that says go forward one layer, but we're going to use the drop down and select backward. And we're going to go back 4 layers for this one. So you'll have to type in here the number 4. And then we are going to get another hat block from events here, but this time we're going to get one that says when this sprite clicked. So because it's a hat block, you can place it anywhere on your workspace. And the next block we're going to use underneath this is a block from looks, and it says next costume. And these two blocks, we are going to use these two blocks just like they are right now on every single one of these sprites. So what you can do is you can click and drag this over here in your sprites pane, and you can see when you hover over one of the sprites, it'll be where your mouse is on the block while you're clicking and dragging. You can drop this into another sprite, and then if I click over here, I have this code again. So I don't necessarily need to write this code every time. I can just click and drag it into a new sprite like that and save a little bit of time if I want to. So let's go on over to this base sprite. This is all the code we'll need for this first sprite, and we can test it out actually. Let's press the green flag, and then we can click on our scarf, and you can see that it changes to the next costume, which is just a different colored scarf. So let's go over here to our base, and for the base, we're going to get a green flag event. And a lot of this code is going to be very, very similar, but with just minor changes. So make sure you pay attention to the details of the numbers that we're entering in. We're going to set the initial position for this one using that same go to XY block. And for this one, we're also going to make sure that you're going to want to make sure that it says 0 and minus 75. And then we're going to control the layers for this one. So for this one, we're going to make sure that this one goes to the back layer because there's some other things in front of it for the base, like the clothes and the arms. We want to make sure that it goes to the back layer. So grab the block that says go to the front layer and then use the drop down to change it to say back. And we have our other two blocks. We can transfer these over to our hat sprite, which we're going to code next. This is all the code we'll need for our base. So let's move this over here to our hat sprite. Sometimes it takes a couple times, but we have that code again. Okay, so we just need this once. And for the hat sprite, let's go ahead and do another green flag event and another go to XY block from motion. And this one is going to say, instead of 0 and minus 75, we're going to make sure that the X says 0 still, but this time the Y is going to be 20 with no minus, positive number. So after this, let's go to the looks category, and we are going to go to the front layer for this. We want this one to be actually in front of the head here. So we'll go ahead and grab that, go to front layer block, and attach it underneath our go to XY block. And we can leave this as front this time. Okay, so just like we did before, I'm going to click and drag this sprite over here to my, this code to my head sprite. And we have that code again, pretty cool. So here we are going to grab another green flag event. So just like before, there's a pattern here. And underneath this one, we are going to get another go to XY block. This one, since I clicked and moved it, it's not going to say the values that we want it to. So this one, what we want is 0 and 20 again. The next thing that we're going to do is control the layers for this one. So we want this one to also be in front at first. So we're going to make it go to the front layer first. And then we're going to go back 2 layers. So we're going to grab the other block that controls layers that says go forward 1 layers. And use the drop down to change forward to backward. And then for this one, we're going to go backward 2 layers. And we also have this code here already written for us. Let's go ahead and transfer this over again. This is all the code we're going to need for the head sprite. Let's transfer this code over to the eyes, which we'll do next. So for this eyes sprite, we're going to grab another green flag event and another go to XY block from motion. And this one's also going to be 0 and 20. This time we're going to do something just a little bit different underneath here. We're going to go to control and grab a forever block. And just to make sure that our layers are, nothing's hiding behind anything else, we are going to put our layer block inside of this forever loop. So inside of this forever loop, we're going to put the go to front layer block. And we don't need to change this one. We can leave it as go to front layer. Awesome. This is all of the code that we'll need for the eyes. And the next thing that we're going to do is transfer this code over again. Maybe. We can go ahead and just write it one more time. So it is when this sprite clicked, and then, which you can grab from events, and then next costume. So you can always just write it manually if clicking and dragging it over here to the sprites pane doesn't work. So for this one, for the eyes, we're going to follow that same pattern. When green flag clicked from events, in motion, we're going to get the go to XY block. And this one is also going to be 0 and 20, 0 for X and 20 for Y. Then we are going to add a forever block just like we did for the eyes, for the nose underneath here. So we'll attach that forever block. And then within the forever, we're going to grab another go to front layer block. And this one can stay on the front layer. We want the nose and the eyes to be in front of the head at all times. All right. So we can go ahead and click and drag this over. Maybe there's some UI issues. We can go ahead and just write this code again. It's only 2 blocks. So in events, we'll grab when this sprite clicked. And from looks, we'll get next costume. Okay, so for the mouth, we want to do basically the same thing that we did on the eyes and the nose, just to make sure that it's always in front of the head sprite. First, we'll start off with the green flag event. Then we will set our starting position here. And on this one, we want the X and the Y to both be 0. The next thing we'll do is we'll get the loop to make sure that it's always in front of that head. And inside of here, we'll put the looks block, go to front layer. And that'll make sure that it's always staying in front of that head sprite. All right, one more sprite to go. We'll click on over here to the arms. We'll write our click event code here. So when this sprite clicked, you can grab that from events. And in looks, we're going to get next costume. So here for the arms, we are going to get another green flag event and set our initial starting place. This one is like some of the ones we did earlier. It's going to be 0 for X and minus 75 for Y. Make sure that you don't forget the minus, or you might have some arms way over somewhere else. And then we're going to make sure that these are also on the front layer because we want them to be in front of the base sprite. So right underneath here, we don't need a loop for this one. We can just put go to front layer under here. And that's pretty much it for the code here. So we can click our green flag and you see that fixed the layer issue here. And then we can click around on different parts and see the different costumes that exist. There's some different eyes, some different clothes, and some different objects that he'll hold in his arms. So there's also some backdrops on here, so you should have the code already on your stage for this, but there's some preset backdrops here. You can always add more if you want to. The next thing that I'm going to do is to show you how to create your own costumes for this so that you can add more to your more options for your snowman customizer. So let's go to, you can click on any sprite here to explore the costumes. So I'm just going to click on the first one, clothes. And then up here in the top left, we've been in the code view this whole time. Let's click on the costumes tab to go to the costumes view. So each sprite has its own costumes, just like each sprite has its own code. And we can create new costumes here. There are a few costume options for each of these sprites. I think the only one that doesn't have any more options is nose. But you're welcome to add more noses if you want to. Let's look at the clothes. So just to introduce you to this costume editor, there's a lot of really cool tools that you can use here to make your own costumes. So over here on the left, we have our thumbnails of different costumes that we can select by clicking them. Up here, we have names for our costumes and some utilities up here. So we can copy certain things. If I want to select a certain object or element, I can copy it here and then paste it again to get another one. I can also delete this. You can flip something vertical or horizontal. You can make it go in front of an object or behind an object. And you can also group objects. So say I wanted these two to be together. You can hold on Shift while you click the two objects or two or more objects that you want to group. And then you click on Group up here, and it will always move these together. They'll always be together. So, but if I didn't want to do that, I don't actually want to do that because now it looks weird on my actual snowman. So what you can do, there's a back arrow and a forward arrow that you can use for undo and redo. So I can go all the way back through my steps here. If you make any mistakes, you can always undo. Okay, over here on the left, we have a bunch of drawing tools. So you can make whatever shapes you want to. Up here above that, you can select what color first if you want. The paint bucket tool is really cool. It allows you to fill in an entire area. This select tool, if you want to select something, make sure that you have this just kind of plain mouse pointer one. There are some shapes and line tools. You can make a lot of things. There's only a circle and a square, but you can make a lot of things out of these shapes, and you can manipulate these shapes too using the reshaper. So if I make a square, but I want a triangle, I can use the reshaper, and a square has 4 corners, but a triangle only has 3. So I can click on one of the corners to select it here, You can see this dot is filled in, and then I can press delete on my keyboard, and now I have a triangle with 3 corners. So pretty cool. You can do a lot of things. You can add points on your shape and make some weird shapes if you want to. You can make this this point pointed or curved if you want to make it back into a square. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do here. I know that some of you are probably some artists, so take some time, add some more clothes, add some more bases. There's a basketball one. Add some more hats if you want to. You can even add more sprites. So say you wanted to add some shoes. You could add another sprite and then use this paint icon to paint your own shoes. It's a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see what you all create. If you get something misaligned, just go back and you can always click that green flag, and it'll, since we coded all of the starting position, you can do that. Be sure to check out the adventure modes. So adventure modes are just kind of ideas on how you can make your project better. We've all coded the same code together, so there's not a lot of customization on our code right now, but you are welcome to add more code if you want to. You can make this into a game. You can make snowfall if you want to behind the snowman. There's a lot of things you can do in Scratch to improve your snowman customizer. Check out our adventure modes. You can find those in the PDF step-by-step instructions on the very last page, and you can get there by clicking on the link in the description on YouTube. I had a lot of fun making the snowman customizer with everybody. Thanks, y'all.